like, subscribe, the bell, and thanks for watching. So we're going to do reincarnation,
Reincarnation.
rebirth, transmigration of the soul, metamorphosis or metapsychosis. Think about a butterfly, y'all. And samsara. All right, so a person or animal in whom a particular soul is believed to have been reborn. Plural noun, reincarnations. He is said to be a reincarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu, a new version of something from the past, the latest reincarnation of the hippie look. So they're just giving examples. So, of course, I took this word, make sure I spelled it right, incarnation. And the ordinal was 141, reduction 69, which is a yin and a yang, reverse 2010 or 210, and then we have reverse reduction 84. Definitely reincarnation. I already can tell you exactly what it is just by these numbers, but we're going to also deal with the ordinal, which is one word, 13 letters. 13 tends to be like, let's say, black, what is it called? Friday the 13th, which is supposed to be unlucky. Actually, it's not. Okay, it's not. It's a beginning of actually having good days. Okay, especially when it's sitting around being reincarnated. It's like, okay, some people see it as a good thing. I would say it would be a good thing if you weren't coming under the system that's been established for multitudes of thousands on thousands of years. If we were coming here and we were coming under our own, coming to a system where we individually create, it would be awesome. However, in this system, in order to individually create, you really have to work at it because there are so many forces on. Um, let's call them the famous thing they call them fake news. When I heard that, I was like, wow, that guy really, he really said it spot on. Like he would know, wouldn't he? Because he's part of Hollywood at some point. So, or infraction. So, not to bother anybody or judge anybody. I'm just saying. Some people love all those people part of the political system, either side. I'm just one of those kinds of people that just see people as people. So let's go to, I know 141 is actually 13 and 1. So that would be reincarnation has to do with the Catholic Intelligence Agency. So let's look at that right quick. So a lot of times you think it's just CIA, but no, it's more than that. And typically, I don't even look into what it is. See, it says Central Intelligence Agency. Hey, how y'all doing? Because I know y'all shadow ban my channel. Love you too. But there is nothing y'all can do about my freedoms because I am a free, eternal being. Actually, absolutely. So let's look into the see. They got the colory thing too. That is so cute. So let's look at the Catholic. Let me type in Catholic. I need to attach Catholic to it because if I don't attach Catholic to it, they're just not going to tell you. That's just not how they work, okay? That's just not how this system isn't going to just say, oh, let me let you see what's hidden behind the veil. Okay? Okay. So people say, there's no way. There's no way. Yes, way. Okay, so the CIA is sometimes called the Catholic Intelligence Agency because of the number of Catholic directors it has had since 1970s. These include William Casey, Lenore Patetti, Patinta, Panita, Leonard Panita, Michael Hayden, and John Bernard. Um, the, the saying they say is the truth shall make you free. Hmm. If they're the one giving you what the truth is, whether you're Catholic or Protestant or Muslim, then does it really? Okay, so without going further into that, let's look at the truth shall make you free, Catholicism and the CIA. So he goes on. You say, well, what does this have to do with reincarnation? Well, who do you think's talking about purgatory? Who you think's getting people to pay money to be reincarnate? even though it's a system that's set up in the world. Now, remember, the Catholic Church is led by Inky, which is the reptilian, the serpent around the tree, the DNA. Watch my videos, you'll know what I'm saying. Okay? So I'm just going to read some of this, to help the algorithm out. On his first day in office, the newly inaugurated President Donald Trump came to the headquarters of the Central Intelligence Agency to give what most mainstream news outlets described as an unconventional speech, wanting to reassure the spy agency of his support that veered off course to attack the dishonest media. So what did this guy say is he's saying that, look, all presidents have to come under the tutelage of the Anunnaki. Okay? I don't care if you think he's Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great, in leadership of power, 9 times out of 10 was an Anunnaki with a different name, and plagiarism just goes on. And Catholic, the Catholic agency plagiarizes from other books because they can. Okay? Because it's called history. It's called his story, whoever wants to write it. And of course, we know Biden uh, is a stout Catholic. I mean, what was he, an altar boy? I mean, come on, for real, for real. So this is what kind of people we're dealing with. Um, Trump, his father's name is Frederick Christ Trump, so that tells you a lot about that as well. And remember, we're making stories. Life is theatrics. Life is on a grand stage. Everything's a stage. And this is for real, for real. Life is a game. It's for real, for real. So I don't want to disappoint you and have you in hysteria because maybe you love Trump, or you love Biden, or you love Republican, you love Democrat, you love the system, you love the game. Don't mess up the game. I want to play the game so I can be reincarnated, even though I don't believe in reincarnate. That's what it sounds like people be saying. I want to be reincarnated under whose authority and power though? Under yours or under somebody else's system? On the Inky system, Enlil system, and new system, the Anunnaki system, which runs this game, this system, the moon, the satellite attached to Saturn that sends you back, Earth, moon, Saturn, just in case you try to. However, you don't have to. Anyway, I won't go into that. Saying too much. Not really, because this is my channel. So I need to be very mindful not to be enveloped in what subscribers are maybe possibly commenting and saying, because this channel is really about me documenting my story. That's it. So I need to be very mindful about expanding my concerns with individuals who are just watching because they're interested. I need to be very mindful about that. I'm just talking to myself this morning, speaking to thine own self. Hey, be mindful not to concern yourself with others who are creators as well. Okay, so some CIA staff in the audience feasted on Trump's red meat. Others, though, complained the speech was inappropriate given its venue in front of the CIA memorial wall, with its stars representing 137 officers' demise in the line of duty. Former director of CIA. Now you remember President Bush's CIA as well, the dad. John Brennan issued a statement saying that he was deeply saddened and argued at Trump's despicable display of self-aggrandizement. Aggrandizement. Well, it's his story, so he can do that. What was also notable was the almost universally reverent tone used to describe this wall. It's a shrine, a sanctuary, commemorating those who sacrificed for the nation, a place to which one makes a pilgrimage. By crapping on this sanctimony, Trump performed, if only inadvertently, the service of highlighting how the mainstream media's news is willing to extend its reverence for the military to spies as well. The intrusion of sanctified rhetoric into discussion of espionage might seem jarring, but as two recent books on the CIA show, religion, in particular Roman Catholicism, colored the agency from its earliest days to its greatest crises, the spectacular 1970s revelation that it had tricked and lied to the public. In this era into the wilderness of mirrors, Michael Gazzino goes back to the CIA's predecessor agency, the World War II era Office of Strategic or yeah, Strategic Services, to look at how capitalism became the model through which the intelligence community could understand and manipulate other world religions, and thus how its flawed understanding of capitalism led to some of its greatest debacles, including the failure to see the rise of another group of fundamentalism. Stevenson, on the other hand, focused not on the institution but on a person. The agency's most revealed turncoat, Philip Agee, whose faith in part spurred him to repudiate repudiate his former employer and for decades crusade. Don't think I'm gonna edit this, because by no means, even with my university degree, do I know every word against U.S. foreign policy and seek to destroy the CIA. Because I know everybody don't speak. And it's early in the morning, so anyway. Taken as two prongs of the theses, these books argue that an overly simple conception of capitalism, later taken to be congruent with all religions, led to many of the agency's blunders, while a deeply felt liberation theory influenced capitalism, brought about the worst damage to its public image and, in some cases, even its operation. It wasn't that the agency itself was not a redoubt of capitalism, even though its founder, Office of Strategic Services OSS Director Wild Bill Donovan, was an Irish Catholic from Buffalo. St. Patrick's Day, huh? Quite the opposite. Ivy League WASP dominated the early agency, while the older FBI was the middle and working class Catholic, half of the intelligence dyad. The FBI resented how aristocratic CIA officers condescended to the Fordham Catholics or the J. Edgar Hoover Agency. Kennedy probably didn't obey, so that's probably what happened to him. Instead, Garzano argues that the CIA's early approach to intelligence gathering drew upon a burgeoning scholarly field of the 1940s and 50s. The academic and anthropological study of the world's religion, which was developing symbiotically with the area studies that America's universities and foundations were underwriting to prepare the United States for world leadership. The OSS was academics such as Yale, Norman Holmes Pearson, and the Harvard America's Perry Miller, whose 1956 study of the Puritans, Aaron into the Wilderness, Lings Gazino's book is titled. So it says, the first such institution to be studied was the Vatican itself, which was, in Garnello's word, foreign enough to be worthy of study, but familiar enough to be interpretable, operating under the cover of the deep, persuasive power of the church. I was in there thinking, if anybody actually thinks I need to be perfect to do a video, much blessings to you. The OSS mobilized European populations against the Nazi and later Soviet occupiers. The agency also collaborated with the Catholic International Press through Belgian press Felix Moorlion, and which it called Operation Pilgrim's Progress. Hope the video can get out because I'm saying a lot of words I know are coded. American spies sincerely and naively saw themselves in league with the priests because American analysts often assumed that Catholics' interests and the Vatican's more specifically squared neatly with U.S. aims. In fact, once the agency began encountering other world religions on the course of the Cold War, what is this? Shintoism in Japan, Buddhism in Southeast Asia, and especially Islam in Iran. It took for granted that the United States and the world's religions were natural allies in the struggle against atheism, communism. They were not always right, especially in Iran, where they suspected communism, not Islam, was the force trying to topple the Shia. You would wonder, why would atheism and communism be a problem, especially atheism? Because they need you under somebody's rule. They need you under a god. Pick a god, any god. That's how people can get in the lodge. It doesn't matter what god you serve, because they know there is more than one god. He said, "Well, I serve the God, the big G." I, and then somebody else said, "Well, I serve the Almighty God. I serve the Most High." And then people are, "Well, I serve blah 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 blah." You still serving slave. Yeah. Okay. I think people don't get that, but people want to be slaves. And they say, "No, that's my father. That's my." Uh, Watch my videos. You understand what I'm saying? Sound like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm actually not. Let's go on. I could say more there. Center to the CIA's use of Catholicism was the name Tom Dooley, though the name is largely obscured today. In 1961, he placed third in the Gallup's most esteemed man in the world poll. Dooley was a Navy doctor who provided care for South Vietnamese refugees fleeing the chaos after the French defeat at Dien Phu in 1954. His 1956 bestseller Deliver Us from Evil, I heard of that, as well as countless articles and media appearances afterwards, justified American intervention in Vietnam and presented Vietnamese Catholics as sympathetic subjects. Interesting. He was a central casting missionary. Casting, interesting word there. And the persecuted Vietnamese were precisely the kind of people Christ charged Catholics to serve. Interesting. Now we know Christ is not a person, it's a state of mind, it's a frame of mind, it's a frequency actually. But anyway, but he was writing CIA sponsored propaganda to build domestic support for Vietnam, and his stories weren't strictly speaking true. I sat here and I thought about that, and I'm going on reading this article, and I'm supposed to be doing a decode, and my mind fell on. You always go watch your videos as if your videos are another person's, is another person, and I'm like, yeah, that's how I watch them, because a lot of times when I'm in the moment, I do videos in the moment. These are live, so I'm not going to edit. And a thought fell on, well, you know who else watches your videos? I said, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Best friend in the world, my yin to the yang, my better half, that half of me that balances me in this game. And so I thought, does he complain when you make speaking errors? No, he doesn't. He understands because he does it as well. Well, when I do decode, just act as if you're talking to him. And I start laughing because that's a beautiful thought that um, the guy that I've been with 30 plus years, married, and a house full of all our young life children. Now they're adults and have a few more at home. Yeah, that's a beautiful thought. To know that he's going to listen and know that he doesn't expect for you to be 100%. That that's a beautiful thing. And I'm letting y'all hear this because it's just what kind of person I am. Because I'm thoroughly interested in this article because this is my first time reading it. Though the purpose of the article is for you to understand why I said the CIA was a Catholic. I know stuff. I'm just not out here proving it. I'm just actually just saying, hey, I know that CIA is not the Central Intelligence Agency. It's actually the Catholic Intelligence Agency. And some people don't know this, that the Catholics are ran by the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki that they are ran duly under is Inky, and Inky is the one I say that runs Diddy's parties because he's such a super freak. And he's supposed to be the serpent, and that's why one of their buildings that they meet in looks like a serpent. Go look into it. The whole building looks like a serpent. Okay, And of course, I'm sure they deal with Enlil as well, but the Jews tend to relish Enlil, and the Catholic tend to relish Inky. So it doesn't matter. All of these humanoids, I call them humanoids, I don't call them gods, because anyway, go to my videos, y'all understand what I'm talking about. So let's continue. One of the young men duly inspired to help was young Philip Agee of Tampa. Why do I know Aggie? Isn't that chemicals or something? Aggie, Florida, and the University of Notre Dame. Yeah, Notre Dame is definitely places where these people come out of that are definitely Jesuits. Anyway, who Saga Jonathan Stevenson recounts a drop of treason after serving in the Air Force in 1957 to 1963 years. Agee joined the CIA, where he was. I guess he must have did just enough time to qualify to be notably moved up on the pyramid, where he was posted to Ecuador, Uruguay, and Mexico City. And Uruguay in 1965. Sorry, y'all, I need some water. He overheard from the next room the torture of a communist leader, Oscar Bernardi, who had been sucked up in a joint CIA Montevideo Police Department operation called Avengeful. This unpleasant experience made him doubt Americans' intention abroad, and especially the justice of its collaboration with the repressive governments. But the Talab Talib coup, I won't say Talib laugh out loud coup, students massacre in Mexico City in 1968, in which he felt the CIA was complicit with his Damascene moment. Yeah, Paul on Damascus Road. Agee had begun to immerse himself in the leftist Catholic liberation theory movement sweeping Latin America. Now, sometimes when I'm lagging in thought, it's because when I haven't read something, my brain pops, pops, pops. It wants to marinate in it, and I have to push myself. No, just keep reading because you can marinate in it once you watch it again. I became the servant of the capitalism I rejected. I became one of its secret policemen. The CIA, after all, is nothing more than the secret police of American capitalism. Agee didn't just quit. He moved to Cuba for time to do research, and then from his residence in the United Kingdom, wrote and published inside the company in 1975 one of the first books by a former officer to air the CIA's dirty laundry. But controversially, he went further in the book. Agee actually revealed the names of hundreds of active CIA officers and agents. One way to neutralize the CIA support to suppress, he wrote at the time, is to expose its officers so that their presence in foreign countries becomes untenable. Untenable, certainly. Perilous, quite likely. While the CIA was determined to maintain a facet of institutional cool in the face of Agee's revelations, individual CIA figures and other writers savaged him for putting his former colleagues in what they claimed was mortal danger. Even Barbara Bush called Agee a potential accessory to murder in response. I think Barbara Bush is Alistair Crowley's daughter. Look at his picture, look at her picture. She looks just like him. Agee sued Bush and received a public apology. Ha 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 ha. For the rest of his life, from his home in Hamburg, Germany. Wow. Agee taught and wrote against American interventionism. You know, they go in there and bring democracy to all the different lanes. Nobody's talking about democracy. We're coming to bring democracy. And then Afghanistan, you get left hanging and running out to a plane. Theatrics, of course, because the plane had 9/11 on it. Often traveling on they removed that video as well. Nicaraguan passport, as the United States had revoked his. Stevenson's books was an equivocal portrait of Agee, who comes across as a zealot with a worrisome willingness to cross the lines between denunciation of the United States and collaboration with its adversaries. Now, there was really no adversaries because the Anunnaki families all have sectors of land on the planet, and a new assignees sectors of land. And yes, they do argue and fight about them, you know. And these guys live a very, 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 and gals live a very, very, very long time. The Anunnaki humanoids. I mean, in order for you to call them gods, you would have to consider yourself a god because you got geno from them. And so I call them humanoids because I'm geno from them. You're geno from them. So whether you made my whole body or not, you went in there and edited it. So I'm partially what you are. And so I don't see myself as some dog, some god, some dogma, some theoretical speech written in a book or on some tablets. No, sir. No, ma'am. But let me continue. I digress. Okay, so it says here, let's go back up. It's talking about some type of spy. Let's see here. Okay, anyway. He casts doubts on, but does not dismiss entirely the widespread suspicion that Aggie actually worked as a Soviet spy. Stevenson tips his hand a bit when he refers to Aggie's work in Cuba as his original sin, but his books make it clear that the CIA has been the much greater sinner, even if its sins were merely looking the other way while its partners did the bloody work, of course, like the Crusades. Writing from the perspective of Trump's years, Stevenson's reservedly approved of the kind of principled and acceptable rejection of the U.S. government, the ruthless candor that Agee embodied and embodied, while still entirely rejecting Aggie's unmasking of his colleagues. In 1954, President Eisenhower asked his national security team to find a Joan of Arc from Vietnam, someone who could unite the country against communism by appealing to spirituality and religion. The CIA and the nation, though, seem to have found their own Joan in Agee, not the Joan who united her people against the foreign invaders. There's always going to be division. Oh, save this, save that. That's how they keep us inside of this constructed matrix game. Form invader, like, oh, you know, the Federation of the blah blah blah, the Galactica, they come to help us. That's part of the game too. Sorry guys, I just had to let y'all know that I know. So yeah, do I dislike these characters that want to be Star Wars, that want to come and here we come to save the day? No, because they're acting just like the Anunnakis are acting. Okay, so they want to be archangels. They want to play these roles, and then you know you sort of kind of spoil it for them because you're telling people they're just acting, y'all, just like we're acting. So no one really saving you from anything. All the stories you hear of salvation and saving is all acting. It's all someone playing a role. They have different names through the eons of time. Every 1,000 years, the names change. You go further back than 3,000 years, you might be shook, but and you're shaking. Get up every day and love life every day. Okay, so let me continue. Let's see where I was at, y'all. Okay, so it says here, not the Joan who united her people against the foreign invaders, but the implacable Joan driven by ruthless candor and compulsion of self-sacrifice in service of God's will. Perhaps if the agency had been more open to such candor in its early years, less willing to allow American exceptionalism to occlude the reality of other nations and religions and people, it's not, or it would not have produced an Aggie who would feel compelled to expose his sins to the world. And then when you think about sins, pretty much what he's talking about is you present yourself a certain way, and behind the scene you are nothing of that. That's what you would, if you want to call something sin without being religious, that's it. You're presenting yourself as this thing and you're really none of it. It's just a facade. You just absolutely not even hitting it nowhere. So that person themselves would have to correct that. No one else can correct them or clean them up from that. The individual themselves would have to see that as something that maybe will make them confused in the long run. Okay. Interesting. When the CIA was founded in 1947, Catholicism was not out of the mainstream, even foreign. It was, as Gurlano shows, something to be studied, but in an irony that while Bill Donovan would relish, CIA has had so many Catholics or once Catholic directors since the 1970s. William Casey, Lino Bonetta, Michael Hayden, and John Bernard. That today it is something sometimes called the Catholic Agency. See, I think I read that. So why am I reading it again? Why did he repeat that? Okay, anyway. Okay. I don't know why he repeated that. I thought I was doubling over. More broadly, in the last 25 years, even as its percentage of population has changed little, Catholicism has become much more central to American public life. But the Catholicism in ascendancy, 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 yeah, ascendancy, going down. Okay, it's no longer JFK and Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, they all are. Old-fashioned northeastern urban and ethnic variety. Instead, a hard-edged reactionary pre-Vatican number two. There is a Vatican number two is full of Diddy party members. You know, people that would go to Diddy's parties, if y'all know what I'm saying. P Diddy. Vatican number two strands have achieved unprecedented influence and power through the right-wing bishops appointed by Pope John II and Benedict, through political figures like Paul Ryan, Sam Brownback, Newt Gingrich, Steve Bannon, and most importantly, through their outright majority of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barnett. Amy Coney Barnett, I did a video on her story when she was trying to get in there as the Supreme Court. There was another Amy Coney that was in the news at the same time, and I did a video on that. And definitely, this article is correct. Left, that's all I'm gonna say because that video got removed. that whole channel got taken down. Leftist social justice Catholics like Agee no longer pose any danger to the CIA. The recent threats have come and likely will come from the top, from people who embody the after Trumpist movement's improvisionists to fact, evidence, and analytics. These, of course, are the very things that the agency, with the biblical quote, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free," carved into the wall at its headquarters, only yards from the memorial wall, claims to venerate. Let's go back up to this thing we talked about. There's a picture of. I want to see it. I actually want to see it in the beginning, but I didn't want to get off Kether because it's really easy to get off Kether. Okay. Oh, it won't open up. Okay. The memorial wall is on the north wall of the original headquarters building lobby. This wall of 140 stars stands as a silent, simple memorial to those CIA agents who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Y'all, they really mean it when they say sacrifice. I'm sorry. This is for real. Inky and Enlil, they do. The Old Testament gods do still want sacrifices, even if it's your whole entire life serving them. Booyah! And then you get reincarnated. Okay. Among the stars, a simple inscription reads, "In honor of those members of the CIA who gave their lives in the service of their country." Memorial wall was commissioned by the CIA Fine Arts Commission, May 1973. Ooh, that's like 51 years. And sculpted by Harold Vogel in 1974. Wow. Okay, so interesting. So let's go back over it.
Reincarnation.
All right. Now this says, what does the Bible say about reincarnation? None of the biblical passages support the idea of universal reincarnation. The Bible does support reincarnation. You say, well, why would you say that? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. Remember when John the Baptist had got dealt with, and the character got dealt with in a way that was horrific? Well, they asked, who was JC? Who was Yeshua? Who was Jesus? Is he John the Baptist coming back from the dead? Why did they even put that in there if y'all don't believe that someone can come back from the dead? Lazarus' body stinketh, yet he came back to his body. This well, it was the same body, but his body stinketh. His body was dead. So anyway, to each his own. To each his own. Okay. Once again,
Reincarnation.
says it so lovely, doesn't he? Okay, so 141, which we know was 13. Okay, it's just showing identifying M5. Well, we could go into M5, but I ain't gonna do it. Won't do it at all. Now we remember that 69 is the yin and the yang. Is the opposite. It's duality. That's what it's dealing with. So yeah, I don't even know if I wanna. I used to do yin yang on this one because 66 is the same thing. Um, but I won't this time. Just won't waste my time doing it. See here, yin yang, 69, flip it, 13. It all folds into each other. That's why I'm like, I don't feel like trying to explain anything on that level. Not today anyway. It's just not. It's just not worth it. So let's go to 21, which is reverse. Remember, in the Matrix game, zeros and ones really don't have a value. They do have a value in the space of it. How do you explain zeros and ones? I'm gonna act as if you know what I'm talking about. For those folks who don't, zero holds a space between negative and positive. There is a space. It holds a space. It has a value. The space it holds. You have two batteries, two magnets. Between the two magnets can't connect when you put them face to face because there's that zero space. The same thing as the number 8. The same thing as the feel around the over and through the earth. That in between space is the exit point. You have to go within yourself to go without of this game. Meaning, if you never deal with your inner self, you never deal with the lies and schemes and deceptions that have been propagated against you being aware of yourself, who you be, that you are the I am that I am. You are never separated from anything or anybody, yet we have our we have that zero space. You're in zero space, meaning everybody's in zero space. However, when you come out of zero space and you start putting yourself with others and joining yourself with others, you either become negative or positive frequency, either become um, negative or positive. And darkness doesn't mean that it's negative. How much light of darkness dwelleth within ye? You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't mean negative, and light doesn't mean it's good. Okay, that's a schematics. It's all about frequency. It's all about a state of being at peace. People say, "Well, it's about a state of being at love, a state of peace, contentment." Yes, way greater than love. And I promise you, I'm saying this with, I know it. It's like, nah, that's way greater than love. Peace, sound mind, spot on. I know I'm spot on that. Do I need to add any more ciphers? I could add some more ciphers. However, um, I kid you not. Let's look at 21 because that's what 210 is. So I'll just sum it up. 21, 210, zero is there, but it's not there anyway. Blackjack, silent weapon to the head. Okay. Completion. They have a goal of completion. You finish this life, you go back, you come back, spirit, soul, body. You have to do with all of it, your spirit, your soul, and your body. Okay? Because like when they had this Corey who turned 19 in 2020 to 2023, There's this wonderful threat they gave out. If you didn't like Corey, who turned 19, well, that's a silent weapon to the head. Okay. And also, there's technology that's silent weapon to the head as well. Okay. Okay. They have a technology that, yeah, silent weapons for quiet wars. A lot of people talk about this stuff. You know, you just got to know that it's out there. You know, look at this right here, artificial womb. Isn't that interesting? Artificial womb. For the first time, a person leaves the mother's womb, and every effort is directed towards building, maintaining, and withdrawing into artificial wombs. Various sorts of substitute protective device or shells. Shells is part of the colitha. Wow, beautiful. I'm gonna go back to that. Give me a minute. The objective of the artificial wound is to provide a stable environment for both stable and unstable activity to provide a shelter for the evolutionary process of growth and maturity. Example, survival, to provide security for freedom, to provide defensive protection for offensive activity. This is equally true of both the general public and the elite. Y'all, come on now. However, there is a definite difference in the way each of these classes go about solution problems. Political structure, action, defense, responsibility. But let's go back up here. You say, what in the heck? What in the heck? Shells, artificial womb. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's see. Let me show y'all something right quick. Okay. Qualifta. What number is Qualifta? Qualifta. See how I'm saying it? You can tell I deal with it a lot. Here it is. 6 6. Yin yang. Reduction. Okay. I should have dealt with it, but I didn't want to. But guess what? I went right back to it anyway, didn't I? Interesting. Of course, we know it's dealing with these folks. So let's look at what does it say about the Qualifta. Let me open up a little bit more. It talks about a shell. I know what it talks about, but I just want y'all to see it. It talks about the shells, okay? Shells, husk, okay? The Qualifta or Kilipot Hebrew. The different English spellings are used in the alternative Kabbalist tradition, the Hermic Kabbalah and Jewish Kabbalah, respectively. Literally, peels, shells, or husks from really from singular are the representations of evil or impure spiritual forces in Jewish mysticism. The realm of evil is also the term of Ara, Aramaic, other side, opposite the Kabbalah text. So it's like when I'm talking about this stuff, it's like, how do you explain to people that it's like really, it's really, it's really, we talking about reincarnation, people, artificial wombs. There's a, like they call it purgatory, there's a holding place for people who believe. You have to believe in this for it to manifest. You have to believe that you go somewhere, heaven or purgatory, in order for you to be in an artificial womb. We're we're in bodies right now, so those are shells as well, but these shells perish. There are people who are of systems that take advantage of others who don't know about these quote unquote Kabbalah magical viewpoints. Okay, man, I tell you, I want. Let me spend some more time on this just because I'm interested to show something I already know, but it's good to still show it. In the Jewish Kabbalah cosmology, flip-flops are metaphorical shells surrounding holiness. They are spiritual obstacles receiving their resistance from God only in an external rather than internal manner. That's why they call people, they say that infidels or Gentiles are just animals, because this is what they're talking about. Divinity in Judaism connotes revelation of God's true unity. Now, here, their God, they're talking about Enlil, not Inky. Inky is the one of by the tree, the serpent, and Enlil is his brother. While the snails conceal holiness as a peel conceals the fruit within. Okay, holiness, you shall surely die. Well, they didn't die outwardly. They 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 got darkened inwardly, meaning they lost an understanding because they got genoed. Their DNA got genoed. They got wrestled with all night long to be changed, like Jacob's ladder. But anyway, they are therefore synonymous with idolatry, the root of impurity, through ascribing false dualism in the divine. Then it goes on to say the perceived realm opposite to holiness. They emerge in the descending Siddha chain of being. Chain of being. Interesting. Through contradiction or contraction of the divine or as part of the, I really won't say contradiction because really, anyway, as part of the purpose of creation. In this, they also have beneficial properties as peels protect the fruit, restraining the divine flow from being dissipated. Kabbalah distinguishes two realms in Kilpa, the completely impure and the intermediate. So you got the Catholics, CIA serving Enlil, and you have no Inky, and you have the Jew serving Enlil because Enlil has rules and regulations, he's administrator, and then you have Inky, who's a scientist, and he's all about figuring out how to drop the bomb on people. Now I know these other people, these people I'm looking at right here, they do that kind of stuff too with the foreskin and all that of the babies. But anyway, there are four concept terms are derived from Ezekiel's vision 1:4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and brightness was about it. Now, this is talking about a wheel in the middle of the wheel. This is the transportation system that Enlil used to on the Mount Sinai. He was definitely in a ship, and the ship had a lot of power and force on it because they don't fly because they have bodies like us, likeness and image we were made, genode, edited. The three impure kilpat, impure, are read in the first three terms. Then you would think, why would he talk about the whirlwind? Why would this just pop up out of nowhere when we're talking about the shell? When we're talking about chain of being? How in the world, how does this make sense? It's talking about dualism. It's dualism. As above, so beneath. You got to understand things within to understand things without. Everything isn't what you think it is. You have to have knowledge to understand. If you don't get some knowledge, you can be absolutely bamboozled by all these humanoids that may look like serpents, that may look like fish, that may look like all these things like on Clone Wars. You know what I'm saying? Where do you think they get those characters from? That was a genome testing they did way before we got here. Anyway, on the outer lands, not in outer space, the outer lands on the earth. Okay, there are outer lands outside the ice walls, and then there are outer lands outside of that ice wall, outer lands outside the other ice walls, and the further out you go, the older those people are on the lands. And the farthest land out is where on this planet, underneath the dome, is where Nibiru is. Okay, okay, directly surrounding holiness and capable of sublimation. In the medieval Kabbalah, the Shichnian is separated in creation from, I should make this bigger, but I won't. Sifethrat by man's sin, while in Nuric Kabbalah, divinity excelled in the Kippot from prior initial catastrophe in creation. This causes sparks of holiness to be exhaled in the Kilpot shells. That causes sparks of holiness to be exiled. So we lost something during the the lulge, the second flood. Okay, anyway, Jewish observance with physical objects redeeming mundane, no God, while the three completely empirical part are elevated indirectly through negative prohibitions. Repentance out of love retrospectively turns sin into virtue. So they feel they can do anything they want to do as long as they want to, as long as they say, I'm really repentive about this. Turns darkness into light. I don't really think anything just because you say you're repentant of it. I don't think that essence doesn't exist anymore because nothing can die. I think that the person's frequency just shifts because that energy is there. When you pull it towards you, it's just there. It's just a frequency. It's just a line of energy on a certain plane of existence. But anyway, when all the sparks are freed from the kill pot, depriving them of their vitality, the Masonic or Messianic or era begins. So they're programming through cosmology pretty much the order of how our shells, our bodies, our avatars will retain its holiness, retain its light, its divinity. They're trying to set a storyline, and they're doing it through probably higher magic, because lesser magic would be what they do in movies, colors and and words and spelling words and cursive writing. They do other things, but anyway, let me continue. It's best to know about this stuff. You don't have to practice it, but it's best to know how people are using their time here on this plane of existence to manipulate other persons, humanoids, who are just as divine as they are, just as divine. But when you don't know you're divine, and you don't know you need to be up on your game, and you don't know you need to be the one writing your story, and you just lend your story out and say, write my story, be the author, be the developer of my story, somebody. Be the author and the finisher of my faith, somebody. You're being childlike, which some people want to be that, but also immature. But people have the right to do that. I'm not saying they don't. Experience as self focused, opposite to holy deveric, self nullification, underlining its panistic, monistic view of Kilpak as the illusionary self awareness of creation. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's deal with this. In Hasidic thought, the Kabbalist scheme of Kilpat, and they really do mean scheme. They mean scheme. Let's look at scheme. Just because you think something holy don't mean it is, okay?
scheme,
A plan, project, plan of action, program. Hello, hello, people. Hello, strategy. Remember, we're in the matrix. Program, plan of action. So I've been saying this is what they're doing, just because you catch what I was saying. Let's look at this word too. Let's just jump in there. A Hasidic Jew is a member of a sect of the ultra Orthodox Judaism stemming from a revivalist movement in the 18th century. Emphasis on emotional, spiritual expression, pious devotion. Interesting. Interesting. Hasidic has Hasidic movement, a history. Mhm. Mm. Ozzy Nazi. Nazi. That's all I'm gonna say there, people. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say there. Your shoes. Look like sound like little shoes. Your shoe, don't it? I wonder who made up all these stories. These are, remember, Enlil's servants, because they choose to be. And let's look at Enlil just in case you know who he is. Okay? Just in case you've really just not been living. Just in case, just in case, just in case. Enlil is a Mesopotamian god associated with storms, air, earth, and wind. Let you know who been messing with these chemtrails too. Mm-hmm. Known as Baal, Ilil, Numamor. Let's look at that. I'm gonna look at that. I need to look at some. I want some images. Who cares about all these words? Mm-hmm. Yeah, same character. Same character as always seen. Like he got a tree on his head, a pyramid. Mm-hmm. Got one arm out. Nose knocked off, so that lets you know he's brown skinned. I don't know why they always doing this stupid stuff. Of course he's brown skinned. Of course he is. That don't make him any better than anybody else. Nego, Sumerian. Mm-hmm. Marduk says in the Neo-Babylonian state pantheon, he was regarded as the third most important god after Marduk and Nabu. Interesting. Who was? Let's see. Mm, must be talking about him. Let's see. Let me go up and see, cause I know. Oh, nigga. You know, I'm getting a little tired. Let me stay focused here, which I am actually focused. But I'm just saying, all of this stuff folds into one another. It just does. It just does. The artificial womb. Ooh, I bet this is so good. But this is so good. Interesting. Anything else I want to look at? I'm so nosy, it makes no sense. I'm so nosy, it makes no sense. It is what it be, you know. You got to be nosy. You must be nosy. Nosy why? So that you will know. So you will know. Silent weapons. That's what we were dealing with. Remember? Yeah. Silent weapon. Silent weapon to the head. And then we got down into all of this. Mm-hmm. So they are thought the Kabbalist scheme of Cupid is internalism or internalized in psychological experiences as self-focused opposite to holy self-notification. So it's a mind experience, self-focused kind of thing that they're messing with. Let's say it like that. Self-notification, that you nullify who you be, the I am that I am, the 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 all in all, being creator, all of us, really not separate. However, you nullify yourself out of yourself when you group up with self think, even though we're all one, you still have to perform in your lane, in your frequency, in your frequency. No one sits in your frequency. It's like a yarn ball. All of us may be a string of that same ball, but you must be your string. You must you must not nullify your awareness of you being who you be. And they have illusionary television, illusionary uh, um, AI, illusionary political system, illusionary religion, everything on that pyramid. I could pull the pyramid and show you everything on that pyramid, all these different agencies on the pyramid. That's part of Enlil system, Inky system, their sister system. Pick one, anyone. Just that's the whole point. That's why in secret societies, you can serve any of the so-called dogma, any dogma, any system. You can have any relationship with any supposedly higher awakened being, Christ, a son, a anybody that's considered high ranking in this game, a freedom maker in this game, anybody. And they're in another lane and you step into their lane and become one with them, you no longer are self-aware. You are now in an illusionary self-notification state of mind. Yeah, I understand what I'm saying. It is what it be. And a lot of people choose to be that because it's, living this life, waking up every day, deciding and choosing to walk in a beautiful day because you choose to. And not because of external things, but because you choose to. It's challenging to most of the planet. Everybody like to point at other people and say why I don't have what I need, and why I'm sitting on the side of the road, and why I'm sitting underneath a tree buck naked, and why I'm being chained to a pole. You have to start within. Stop self-nullifying yourself. Nullification, nullifying yourself. You're just going to have to allow that spark to stay free, and you are that spark. Period. Everybody else a spark. So all things are spark, a frequency. Don't go any further into this. Magical views. Okay, let's jump in this a little bit. In some of non-Jewish Hermetic Kuba, contact is sought with the Kuliftak, unlike in the ethical, mystical Jewish prohibition as part of its process of human self-knowledge. Now remember, human is a hue of color, just in case y'all don't know that. It's just like a spectrum on the rainbow, a hue of color. That's why they telling these kids you can be a puppy dog, you can be a bridge, you can be a woman, even though you got an avatar that's a man, you can be a cat, you can be a anime, you can be a fish, and these people really falling for it. Why? Because you're just picking up another hue of color. Be your hue of color. Be the hue that you are. Be the frequency that you are. Play the role you came to play. Just play the role you came to play and play it the best and the clearest and most transparent way you can. Do not lie and deceive yourself just because you don't like who you be. Just because you don't like the shell you came in. Guess what? Maximize it. Maximize it. Maximize. Appreciate it. Don't worship it, but just appreciate it. And that's why a lot of people are doing self-nullification, because they literally are falling for the Kool-Aid, the Jim Jones Kool-Aid, from all of these different traditions of men, put it like that, or traditions of humanoids. Let me continue. Jewish prohibition is part of the process of human self-knowledge. In contrast, the Therinic Jewish practical Kabbalah was understood by its practitioners as similar to white magic, associated or accessing only holiness. While the danger in such venture of mixing impure magic ensured it remained minor and restricted practice in Jewish history. How much light of darkness dwelleth within thee? I love saying that because it's so point on. Let's go back up here. Look, I missed something. Why didn't y'all tell me I missed something? No, I'm just joking. Underlining the pantheistic, monotheistic view of Kilpaw as an illusionary self-awareness of creation. I did go over that, but I looked at that and said, "Ooh, that I need pantheism." Let's look at this word. Let's just deal with it. Okay. Is in belief, or in brief, the doctrine that is a divine element in all things, or in other words, everything is in some way part of God, and consequently, something divine can be found in everything. Importantly, this view does not hold that everything is divine and that everything is simply God. In simple words, let's look at the picture they're talking about, but in simple words, duality exists. Now, when it talks about divine, does it say divine? Let's see if it says divine, because my brain wants to say divine. Something divine, okay, can be found in everything. Meaning, we are all a hue of color, we're all a frequency, we're all energy, okay? The way they have this here, theism, I would not put a being out here, and then I would say just remove that purple and just blend it all together. Like red and blue makes purple, have red and blue just blended together to make purple. Because even though, let's say this is where Earth is, this is where all of the planets are. Let's say this is the Earth, and inside on the outer ring is where the Anunnaki live, and then there's a dome and an ice wall. Then the next group, ice wall, boom, boom, boom. We stay here. There is there is. They say we live in a cosmic egg. There, I would not. I would. I would not. I would not prescribe to this concept. I would not prescribe to this concept. I would prescribe to remove this name, and blend it all. I think that's how it is. Because when we do this and put someone outside of here, we never go within. We never go within. We never go within. All things are divine because divineness has nothing to do with right or wrong. Divineness has to do with a state of being. Just a state of being. A state of being. Just a state of being. You're a divine being. Well, I did wrong yesterday. But that doesn't change that you're the divine being. And that's why people put themselves in hell. And that's why that gang member from Chicago said he went to hell and blah, blah, blah. It's because he put himself there. And the people that were standing in line waiting on hell to get punished by these demonic forces that would call them stupid and laughing at them, because the demonic forces was like, look, we would have nothing problem to do this adventurous if y'all wouldn't come down here or go to that state of mind. It's not really a location. I mean, maybe the CIA has somewhere to put you. Okay, anyway. So the more you look into these words, the more, things can be spoken about. For me anyway. Because when you're divine and you're eternal, you know for sure that there's nothing you don't know. I know all things. I know all things. I know everything I need to know. I'll always escape out of any plot, scheme, plan of any of these humanoids. I just will. Always on time. I'm always on time, see? Always on time. I don't doubt it. Always on time. I'll learn whatever I need to learn. Always on time. I will awaken to knowledge of something. Always on time. Always on time. See, I'm always on time. And there's no distant me. All of me's here in the game. See? Why would you say that? Because my third eye sits right there in the middle of my body. That's where my intuition comes from. Go within. That's the going within. See? To go without. To bring it, to manifest it here in the game. I would say excuse the women down here, but they some of them might not even be women these days. Let's but it's just body parts. It's just avatars. And if you ain't got control of your instrument, you might need to. Okay, so and that's for males and females these days. Let's see. I'm actually enjoying myself. So if I've went past an hour, well, that's because I'm going to go back over this video, and I want to make sure that it's to my standard, because I don't know about anybody else's standard. And yeah, I might be a boring person because I like to investigate and study. Um, let's continue. Mm. All right, so let's talk about duality of God, dogma. Yes, dogma is duality for sure. Sure, do this, don't do this, do this. I come and do this. Um, they're talking about perfection. Then they then became duality of God and order of the lesser demons. In the lowest state of their fall, they become the pollutant of yada yada, the cortex or outer form of the Tamil is called the Cathariel, the broken or fearful light of God. When you think about the broken or fearful, that reminds me of those people who are not aware of their shell, who they are inside of the shell, how they were Geno. They don't understand it. And this Corey, who's turning 19, that came out in 2020, that everybody got on the news and said that you need to really be part of Corey's, whatever Corey's laying out. That broke some shells as well, and that broke some DNA strands as well. That Jacob Ladder thing. However, I still do believe if people would just understand who they be, you can heal yourself from that too. That information is being suppressed. You can't even say Corey's true name. And Mr. Na, who is definitely Corey's messenger to any party Corey wants to have. Catch what I'm saying in code, people. This is part of the broken, the fearful part of the all in all. There are those of us who are on in this game, all of us, who literally are broken right now because your your whole world or understanding the world is being shaken. Not because you have to fall away from the church and now you're being tricked by the devil to serve Satan. No, 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 no. That's propagation. That's for you won't look up. Right, as my husband said in our conversation on one of our Sunday videos we do, where we sit down and talk, my husband and I, and we talk about things, and we agree to disagree, but we don't really disagree about anything. It's just his perspective, my perspective, because we're still like not on the same path, but we're like looking at each other. I can see him, he can see me. I'm walking, he's walking. I don't want to be on this path. I don't want him to be on my path. Definitely, probably 98% of everything that we think about, we've devised plans of talking about it. And then there are things at his place of earning money that I don't know about, and then there are things I do at home he doesn't know about. So that's that 2%. So anything else we sort of kind of talk about it because it's just good to talk about things. So it's talking about Satan, adversary, and king. Yeah, he's somebody's king. And Satan would be give or take. He wasn't that important to later on. He came into play. Satan would be Saturn, and that's just what is it, recycling center. Satan would be probably one of the what do you call these people, handlers for the system, and that probably one of Meduke's children. Or anyway, different name though. Y'all be amazed who these folks are. Anyway, let me get off this. They talking about a lot of stuff. I'm gonna start it so I can go back to it. I'll go back to it. But I need to stay focused on what I supposed. So this is what we were talking about, and this is the yin and the yang. This is the afterbirth. So beneath it, this is the cold, the hot, the male, the female, the angry, the happy, the sun, the moon. Okay, the game, the eternal. Okay, or gain, and then reality. Okay, it's so much can be said, and yeah. So remember now, when you die in somebody, you're raised, you're you're born again. That's reincarnation as well. But and on what format are you reborn? Are you reborn into someone's kingdom? Or are you reborn into playing a game again? What are you reborn into? Are you reborn into the third dimension? Which the third dimension is where we're at now. Somebody said that the 3D was actually in heaven, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's because there's a location that everybody goes to, that they send themselves to in the frame of mind that is is I think I would call it 4D, because even though it's in the clouds, it's like it's a doorway. Anyway, it's just everybody decide. A lot of people decide to subscribe to that, and that's why it manifests that way. However, it's still in the game, and you can definitely send your string of self or frequency of self there. However, other people send themselves other places because they feel like they need to be punished, and then some people just send themselves to the other Elohim's kingdoms. Let us make man kingdoms. That's Elohim. That would be, of course, more than one humanoid. All right. Well, that is my alarm. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and thanks for watching.